So in this video, I'm gonna talk about the 5 random books that unexpectedly changed my life. I call them random not because I picked them up off the side of the road, but they're random in the sense that they're not the prototypical self-help books. So over the next few minutes, I'm gonna talk about each of these 5 books right here. I'm gonna give a quick overview of what they're all about, but I'm really gonna focus on the key takeaways that I got from them and why you should consider reading them too. So stick around. And if you're new to the channel, how you doing? I'm Jim from Get Better with Books. We talk about good books, business, and all that big brain type of stuff. So if you're into that, do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. All right, here we go. Starting off at number 5, we have got Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I am a huge fan of this book. Huge. This book, Flow, is all about the psychology of flow states and why they're so good for us. So here's a question for you. When was the last time that you were so engrossed in an activity that you completely lost track of time? For some people that could be writing, for some people that could be programming, for others it could be creating awesome memes, and for the rest of us it's the mindless scrolling through social media. Just kidding. Regardless of what it is, this book is all about how these flow states are actually some of the most enjoyable experiences that us humans can encounter. But really what stood out to me was that after reading this book, it helped me identify the things in my life that were creating these flow states. And for me, there was 2 things that really stood out. Number 1, it was exercise. Number 2, it was creating content. So by simply thinking about the things in my life that created these flow states, it helped me incorporate more of these into my daily routine. And honestly, I found that they were creating a lot more happiness in my life. So for those of you who are watching this, take a quick moment to think about the things in your life that create these flow states and really get you in the zone. Like I said, for some people, this could be cooking. For some people, it could be smashing noobs in Call of Duty. Whatever it is, try to do more of these things on a weekly basis and see how it impacts the quality of your life. Next on this list, we have got Endurance by Alfred Lansing. Honestly, I have no idea how I stumbled across this book, but man, am I happy I read this. This is honestly one of the craziest true stories that I've ever heard. So this is an insane true story about Sir Ernest Shackleton and a crew of 27 complete savages who set out to be the first people to trek across Antarctica in the year 1914. Yes, these people wanted to travel by boat and then by dog-driven sled across Antarctica in the middle of winter in 1914. So the long and short of this story is that after they set off the coast of Argentina, in one of the most stunning turn of events, they encountered poor weather conditions. Reminder folks, this is Antarctica in winter. So their boat eventually gets locked in a bed of ice because again, this is Antarctica. It gets crushed by the pressure of the ice. And these motherfuckers have to walk through ice, through slush, through freezing ass water for hundreds of miles. So I don't want to spoil the ending of this book because like I said, this is one of the craziest stories that I've ever heard, but it is one of the most impressive feats of human courage that I've ever heard. But here's the thing that really stood out to me is that we all as individuals encounter challenges in our lives. Not necessarily the challenges about trekking through hundreds of miles of frozen water in Antarctica in the middle of winter, but challenges nonetheless. You know, this could be a lost job. It could be a loved one getting sick. Regardless of what that challenge is, the question still remains, what do you do when adversity hits? Do you hide or do you face that challenge head on? This is one of those books that really gets you to question the challenges that you're facing in your own life and ask the question, are you really putting everything on the line to meet these challenges head on? It's also gonna make you very thankful for dry socks and a warm bed. Question time, question for you folks at home. What is one book, a random book, an unexpected book that changed your life? This could be sci-fi, this could be fiction, it could be about habits, it doesn't really matter. Comment below one book that completely changed your life to enter into a contest. Next week I'm giving away free books, so make sure you comment below to enter into a free book contest. Number 3 on this list of completely random books that changed my life, we have got The Power of Showing Up by Dr. Daniel Siegel and Dr. Tina Payne Bryson. So this is honestly one of the best parenting books that I've ever read. And if you don't care about parenting books, feel free to scroll past this section. I'll meet you in the next one. But if you're a parent or a soon-to-be parent, honestly, this is a must read for you. So the premise of this book is very simple. Being physically and emotionally present for your kids, especially during their younger developmental years, is one of the best ways for them to develop emotional maturity. And obviously, the world is a chaotic place, but the idea is giving your kids an emotional safe harbor. This gives them the stability and the confidence necessary to grow into their own individuals. But why this really stuck to me is it helped shift my perspective on what it means to be a good parent. Now, obviously, providing for your kids is important, important. Giving them a roof over their heads, giving them food to eat, yeah, okay. But obviously it goes so much more deeper than that. Like being a good parent is also about being physically and emotionally present, making sure that they're feeling heard, making sure that you're actually interacting with them instead of just putting them on the iPad or being on your phone at the end of the night. You know, it's obviously a lot easier said than done, but at the end of the day, providing your children with an emotional safe base is going to give them the emotional stability that they need to interact in this crazy ass world that we live in. All right, second to last book here on this list, number 2, we have got Boyd by Robert Coram. So shout out to John Boyd for being one of the most badass fighter pilots in the US military history that almost no one has heard of. So this book is a biography about John Boyd, who was a misunderstood military maverick in the United States Air Force, who was a gifted fighter pilot and went on to revolutionize military strategy and often made some enemies in the United States military, specifically in the Air Force and the Pentagon. You don't need to be a military or a history buff to enjoy this book, as it's a really entertaining story about purpose, about mastery, but also about going against the grain for things that you truly believe in. But the most important concept that I got from this book, and something that you watching this at home can start implementing today, is the concept of the OODA loop, which stands for, what does it stand for? Observe, orient, decide, and act. So Boyd himself developed this concept really in the context of fighter pilot combat operations, where these fighter pilots have to make split-second decisions, which can often have life and death consequences. But really over the past few decades, this concept has been widely adopted by management consultants, the business world, and the IT world. Mainly because the idea of gathering as much information as possible, but deciding and iterating off those decisions is actually a useful concept. But it's also an opportunity that we can start using in our own lives. So more often than not, you know, we're swimming in a sea of information. The challenge really comes from organizing and deciphering this information, but making a decision. It's an iterative process that honestly all of us can use in our day-to-day lives that's going to help us with our decision-making process. And last but not least, the number 1 book on this list of completely random books that ended up changing my life, we have got The Third Door by Alex Banayan. Honestly, this is one of the most entertaining books that I've ever read. The author Alex actually hit me up on Instagram. He was like, hey, you want to check out this book? I said, sure. I'm really glad he did. So Alex, if you're watching this, thank you. This is one of those books where after you're done reading, you're like, I really hope this gets made into a movie, because it's that entertaining. It's like you're watching a movie when you're reading. So this book is actually a true story of Alex Banayan, the author's life, about how he set out this crazy audacious goal to interview some of the most popular and influential people in the world, from Bill Gates to Warren Buffett, Lady Gaga, and Tim Ferriss, and how he actually goes about doing it and then does it. But this book is all about the entertaining and often challenging experiences that he goes through in trying to hit this crazy goal. But what really stood out to me was the concept and how Alex Banayan describes the third door. Think of it like this. It's like a club, and there's 3 doors to get in. The first door is the front door. You wait in a long ass line just like everybody else. You take your time and you wait until you can get in. The second door is the back entrance. You know, maybe you know someone, you know, buddies with a concierge, you know somebody VIP, and you get easy access. Someone helps you cut the line. But the third door, and really what stood out as the important underlying concept of this book, which he describes as getting your ass in there by any means necessary. If that means running down the back hallway, climbing through the tiny ass bathroom door, that's the idea of the third door. By any means necessary, through hell or high water, you are going to get what you want. And it's an underlying concept that really stood out to me because, you know, obviously we talk a lot about goals, we talk about ambitions, we talk about progress with the Get Better with Books page. And this concept of the third door is one of those motivational tales that should inspire you, but also give you insight that if you want to achieve what you really set out to, it's going to take a lot of hard work. And often you got to overcome some crazy obstacles to get there. So there you go. Here are my top 5 random books that completely and unexpectedly changed my life. I'm going to be putting a link in my description down below if you're interested in checking out any of these books yourself. If you like this video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel to see more videos like this. This is Jim signing out with Get Better with Books. I appreciate you watching this. I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.